Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another episode on the Cabrio Love channel of the 2002 Cabrio restoration project. Today, I'm going to start by working on getting the camber readjusted. And what I'm going to do today is not an official way of adjusting the camber. I just need to get it closer so the car is drivable, and then after all this is done, I'm going to take it to a shop and get it aligned correctly and have the camber and everything set. But I can show you. If we take a look at this side, just using a regular level, you've got about a quarter bubble to the inside. Okay. So this one was set pretty close to correct. Now if we go to the other side, switch hands here, and I do the exact same thing. You see the bubble is way off. That's why not only could you see the camber being way off, but that's why the difference in wear between these two front tires is present. This tire is shot. Completely unevenly worn. Actually has a slope to the tread. So, yeah, I don't even know if I can show it. There's just nothing really relative, but it's leaning that way. So, tire's no good. So, what I'm going to do is I shot these with PB penetrant a few days ago. This bottom bolt right here is the pivot bolt. I'll just loosen that up a little bit. This is the adjustment bolt. Should be able to just tap it back out and get it fairly close to at least matching the other side. And that's all I'm going for. Just want it to match so I can drive the car and not have it pull extremely hard to the left. All right, I know the heater is roaring, so I don't know how well you'll be able to hear me, but 18 millimeter socket. The biggest wrench I could find was a 17 millimeter, so I'm using an adjustable on the bolt head side. So I'm just gonna loosen this up. Okay, everything's nice and tight. The bubble is a quarter in, which matches the other side perfectly. So again, this is not the correct way to set camber. All I'm doing here is trying to get this wheel to set closer to the other side because it was tipped way in. So by getting that bubble to match the other side, the car should be drivable when we're done with this project to where I can get it over to the alignment place and have them do it correctly for me. Now it is time to dive into something that I've been looking forward to, mainly because I know nothing about it. I've never done it before. I just watch videos. But it's time to remove rust and start doing some body filler. Now I've done body filler on boats before, on fiberglass projects, never on steel body, so this is going to be all new for me. I've got a little circular scuff pad, and I'm going to give this a shot using my old Milwaukee hole shooter drill. Works good. I got this tool at one of the local thrift shops for like $3. So, yeah, let's see how it goes. Now, what I'm looking for here is clean metal. So when you get up into the paint, clean the paint down to the bare metal and get all the rust moved away as best I can. Okay, I'm gonna brush this away. It's actually looking pretty good. I think I'm gonna have to get a finer pad or maybe even some Scotch-Brite to get into some of the pitting here. But not bad. Let me do this little section over here real quick too. Not too bad for first look at it here. That was a 50 grit pad. Yeah, I'm gonna try more of a Scotch-Brite style of wheel. I know these pads are designed more for use with a die grinder. I don't have one, so this is gonna have to do for now. You know, all the videos I've watched say to get down to clean metal, which I'm there on that side. I'm not quite there on this side, but getting close. This is not all the way through. So this is still all just surface rust, surface corrosion. So shouldn't take too much longer, and I'll be able to mix up some Bondo and get it nice and smooth over these pitted areas. I'm thinking maybe I should just bring this all the way back. All right, well, I didn't record it all, but I did go all the way around the car and get all the rust spots, and this is a dent right here that I'm gonna fill in. That was rust. Did a little bit up here, one right there. That one down there's sanded. This is the worst one. I gotta fill that in. Got that one, a couple of spots in the middle. Go back and watch some of the videos that I've already watched about repairing little spots like this, and then start putting some filler on and get it primed and painted and polished back up. All right, well, today I'm going to work on patching up the hole here, and I've got it all cleaned up. Everything's been wiped down with alcohol, got the bumper put back on, and what I'm gonna do is use these little 16-inch wide strips that are cutoffs from the boat project that I'm working on. And these are gonna come in nice and handy here because I gotta get the spacing right between the bumper and the missing bodywork here. So this, and put it in this way, is gonna slide in right like that. I'll put packing tape over it, and then I'm gonna put another piece this way. I'm gonna cut it so it's a little more manageable, but that'll give me the corner right like that. And then I will use some fiberglass cloth, some resin that will be thickened with some chop strand fibers. That way it'll have some additional grip, and basically just going to let this cure up for 24 hours, and then we'll come back and sand it, and then we'll put some either putty or fiberglass reinforced resin just to start to get the shape. So the main thing I'm concerned about is getting this body line right here done correctly, and then there's a little bit of a curve right here as it goes forward. So this is flat, but yeah, the first step here is going to be rough shape. I'll turn the heater back on, turn the music back on, so enjoy watching with background music. About the noise from the heater, but so what I've done here is taped up pieces of 16-inch wide scrap wood and just taped it to the car. The resin does not stick to packing tape, so what I'm going to do is mix up some resin with some chop strand fibers in it, soak a piece of fiberglass, a couple pieces of fiberglass cloth, lay these in on the back side, and then just kind of work them to shape with my fingers. And then once I get the shape just about where I want it, I'm just going to let it cure, and we'll come back and sand on it later. All right, here we go with the mixture. We've got chop strand fibers, which kind of make this slurry thicker. All it is chopped up fiberglass cloth. You lay it in with the resin so that it thickens it up and gives some additional structural properties. So what I'm going to do first, I've got a limited amount of working time with that resin already mixed up. So I'm just going to cut off a small piece of cloth here, just a square piece like that. And take mixing the stick out of the way. I'm going to take a small brush, wet the brush out with epoxy, and then I'm going to start dropping epoxy right on the area I'm going to work and apply fiberglass cloth. Just kind of getting it wet, so the cloth has something to stick to. This is the part where really you can be as messy as you want, because there's a lot of removing components. And all I'm trying to do here is just give a little bit of structural definition so that I can come back later and use the fiberglass reinforced resin to give this its shape in the end. A lot of this is just going to get sanded off later on while we bring this to shape. I only mixed up 3 ounces of resin, but it's way too much for what I'm working with right now. But there really isn't any other way to do it. With Bondo, it's not measured out by weight, it's measured out by volume, so it can only go so small. And I'm just taking and applying the resin mixture onto the back side. So I'm just kind of slathering it in there. right, at some point you just gotta stop, because you're gonna end up moving things around that don't need to be moved around. And you can see I've got a lot of leftover resin, but unfortunately that's one of the side effects of using Bondo instead of some other process where it can be weighed. What I've done, I've got the fiberglass in place, it's all wetted out. I kind of pushed it in a little bit because I don't want it flush with the body quite yet. I want to make sure that I've got room to put body filler in. So it's going to be pretty cool here tomorrow when I come back and take all this apart, because the resin isn't going to, you know, again, it's not going to stick to the packing tape. So I'll take the packing tape off, slide the pieces of wood out, and I'm gonna have a nice corner right here to work with to start putting some filler in place. And all this stuff that's excess out here onto the paint, doesn't matter either. That's gonna get sanded and feathered in. The only thing I'm wanting to make sure here is I've got good adhesion right up here in the front. I think I do. So there's the first repair. That'll get sanded on a curve. Right now it's straight. When I pull that off, I'll just sand it to a curve. This one already has the curve because I'm using the bumper to get the shape of the corner. This is looking really, really nice. Now I'm going to start mixing up some body filler. This will be for the spot right there under the door handle, and then I'm probably going to rub some on right there, just a real thin coat down there. And then this is going to have a thin coat, which is called a penetrating coat, I think, to get into the scratches from the 80 grit sandpaper. And then I'll put on a thick coat that will kind of match the body line, get into that dent a little bit. And the best way to mix this stuff is to put your filler on a pallet, and then take your hardener and run it all the way across. That, in my experience, and almost everyone else's experience that I've watched on YouTube, provides the correct mixture to get things to set up right. So I'll get this mixed up and then spread it on. Here's the result of the first coat of filler. I'm probably gonna have to do this twice, I'm guessing. I think I can still see a little bit of an indentation there, but that's totally fine. Just wanted to get the first coat on there, and I'll get this sanded off and figure out exactly where I'm at with filler. Down here is looking really good. That's not a big deal. That's just gonna be some sanding. These patches up here, I'm going to end up using Glazing Putty, which is this stuff right here. Very thin, easy to spread. There's no dents, just a little bit of pitting from rust. So, got a little bit of cleanup to do around these parts here before I put that putty on. Time to kick the heater on, make sure we keep it nice and warm in here for all this to cure up nicely. All right, well, we are a bunch of days later from when I was working on the patch right there and the filler back there, but it's time to get back to work on this thing because, you know, it's the end of January, and I feel like time's just gonna kind of get away from me if I don't keep going on this. So I need to kick this thing into gear here. Keep working. So here's what it looks like right now. So before I started recording this, I did take off the tape. I took off the tape a few days ago because I figured as cold as it was going to probably leave a residue, and it did. I'll just use some Goo Gone or something to get that residue off. But when I took the tape off, the wood piece that was right here to give me that line came off with the tape. But the piece between the bumper and the fender is still in there. And as mentioned many times, the resin does not stick to packing tape, so this should just pop right out. So I've got a little tab here to pull on, It's gonna be a little bit tight, but there we go, broke loose, pulls right out. And you can see I've got perfect spacing between the bumper and the fender. Now, this has a rough edge to it, so I gotta sand that off. This is all very rough. The inside is even rougher, or even more rough, I should say. But that gives me the space to put some filler in here. So what I'm going to do today is probably pull the bumper back off, at least this side. That way I'll have plenty of space to get this sanded to the correct form, and then I'll spread some filler on it and work on getting this line to match up right there. Bumper is pulled back just a little bit. I did not take the screws out of the left side, just on the right side here, just so I can have enough space to sand off that. I'm going to use some 60 grit here and knock this off right there. And then use the 60 grit on this side as well, just to kind of knock everything down. I've got the corner piece here ready for filler. It's nice and smooth with the rest of the bodywork. That's gonna get some filler. Move down here. I've got this ready to go for its second coat of filler. You can see that section right here in the middle. It's low. So I'm gonna fill that. This one down here, pretty much ready to go. I'm gonna put just a little bit of I think a glaze putty fill right through there and right there. And while I'm doing the glaze putty, I'm also going to do it right here, here, and here. Every time I smell this stuff, it brings me back to working on that Chevelle with Stacy, and it's just a good memory. I love the smell of Bondo. Why is it relevant? It's not. It's just nostalgic. So 20 minutes from now, we should be able to sand the corner here, as well as the little dent that was right there. I did put some additional filler in this dent, and just a little bit down here. Haven't done any glaze putty yet, but I might do that while I'm waiting for the 20 minutes for this section of body filler to set up. That feels pretty good. All right, so we have a very nice profile on the fender here. You can see this dent here is filled. The body line is pretty close to intact. I'm gonna use a little bit of glaze putty there. Same thing down here. This is really, really close. The only part that's lacking is the body line from about right there to the end, about a ½ inch. So we'll put some glaze putty on, sand that off, and make it nice and smooth. Got a little bit of a fill right there. Glaze putty will take care of that. If we step back here, this dent is pretty much done. We'll put a layer of glaze putty over that as well. But that's nice and smooth. Glaze putty is going to cover anything that's left imperfect. Same thing down here. That is done. I did use glaze putty up here. These low spots where there was some rust, that's all pretty much done. I might do one more layer of glaze putty over that since I'm gonna have it out anyway. And just for reference, this is glaze putty from Bondo, glazing and spot putty. All right, glazing putty is on. This stuff is really pretty amazing. It's so thin, very, very easy to spread. And you can already tell from this picture right here that body line that I'm trying to get right there is gonna turn out perfect. Same thing up here. It's after I sand it, it's gonna look so good. And I put some glazing putty down here to fill that hole, or not the hole, but the low spot, and it's gonna look really, really nice. Just a little bit of sanding left to do on the right side of the car, and this will all be a distant memory. It'll be time to prime it soon. If I wipe this off, and we get down to the detail, I'm really, really close. You can see where the glaze putty is left right here. I've got just a little bit of about a 1/2 inch spot right there where I still need to define that body line. From there to there. I'm really, really close. It's not quite right though. You can see there's no, it's just like a rounded edge. And I need a defined line like I have right here. So I'm gonna put a little more glazing putty on and we'll sand it again. This one looks really good. This one's done. Got a nice defined line right there. That dark red area, that's all glazing putty. Looks fantastic. Super smooth. That's ready for paint. I gotta fix this. I've got the car masked off for the areas that I'm going to prime here in just a minute. This is just a lot of work to get everything blocked off so that I can spray just a couple of little areas. So I've got to do this area here, that area, a little strip right there, a little strip right there, and then up here. And I know I'm going to get some overspray, but that's okay. I will be able to clean that off and spray some white and clear coat over the top of that when I'm ready. So, all right, well, I've already got the lights shut off, but I've got the areas that were in work during this video all primed. Everything's looking good. I'm just gonna let this sit overnight and I'll come back and revisit this tomorrow. Remove the paper and take a closer look. You can see, got a pretty good line right there. A little bit of cleanup left with some 320 or 400 grit sandpaper. And then I'll reprime that spot one more time. Man, so much work in getting everything masked off, but it's looking really good. So thanks for watching this episode of Cabrio Love. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, send me some comments if you liked it. And we'll see you next time on the Cabrio Love channel.